Developers try to write a clean code. They try to implement a recently learned design pattern in their application. But one thing which we oftenly overlook is logging. In this particular video, I am going to explain you the overall concept of logging and its implementation in a .NET Core ecosystem with the help of ILogger interface. Then we'll discuss about the concept of structured logging, and we'll discuss two important libraries. One is my Seq and then Serilog. And then I'll explain you why to choose Serilog over Seq. So let's get started. I'll navigate back to my Visual Studio, and you notice that I already have a to-do controller. Now, this ILogger interface, which is an inbuilt interface in a .NET Core ecosystem, will actually read the configuration from your app setting file, and the configuration is this particular logging section. So whatever the configuration that you define inside the logging section, that will be useful in your logging process and will be intercepted by your ILogger interface. If I want to implement a logging for this particular to-do controller, all I have to do is first inject a dependency of ILogger. So I'll let it down ILogger as an interface over here, and then I'll pass the name of my controller. So whatever the class file you have for which you want to implement a logging, just pass this, because this ILogger accepts a generic, and then give it a proper name. This will help you out to implement a dependency injection. Once I injected dependency of logger in my particular controller or any service, then I'll simply go to my any of my method and write it down logger.log information, and let's say my custom message, which means executing a get method inside a to-do controller. So you will notice that this bare minimum line of code is self-sufficient to implement a logging in your application. If I complete it and run my application and navigate to my Swagger, you will notice that in my terminal nothing is there, but the moment I click on get and then try it out and execute, it will call my API, it will give me the response, but in the logs I'll get the real log over there, which is my executing get method inside to do controller. Now this log can be written in any part of my application depending upon whatever I'm trying to do. Even if you want to log any kind of error, this particular logger has an inbuilt method like log error and critical and debug. So whatever the log level you want to write it down, you can actually use this inside this ILogger interface. It's very unique. It's very important to understand that an ILogger is basically an abstraction of all different type of loggings in my application. So now we have covered the concept of logging, and we covered the concept of a ILogger interface as well. The next important thing that comes into our mind in a real production grade application is the concept of structured logging. Now, why it is really required to write a structured log in your application? And for that particular purpose, let me give you an example. Actually deploy your application into multiple servers. So let's say I have a multiple servers in my infra setup, and this is my first, second, and third server. I'll give this name as 1, 2, and 3. Whenever a client makes a request to my server, it first comes to a load balancer. And based on that load balancer, depending upon the availability of a server, the load balancer navigates the load to all of my machine. And this is not a new architecture. We have been following this for past couple of years. But here is a very important aspect that we need to understand. On each of my server, I'll deploy my application. Let's say a to-do API. Now, every server will generate their own logs, which means there will be a log file on this server as well, and there will be a log file on this server also, and there will be a log file on third machine as well. This can even become more critical if you have more than 3 machine or 4 machine in your entire infrastructure. Now let's assume the same use case that your client reports one of the API is not responding, and you need to figure it out that which server is not responding the API or which server is not giving the responses in a properly or timely fashion. In that case, you manually have to go and check the log file of each and every server. This is not realistic, not practical, because if you start checking a log file manually for each and every machine, you will actually waste a lot of time. And in order to get rid of this, we have certain tools. So let's say what we normally do in a real project is we never write these logs into a text file. Rather, we dump these logs into a specific tool, let's say Elasticsearch. We can either use Elasticsearch, we can either use maybe a New Relic, maybe we can either use Azure App Insights or Azure monitoring services, whatever your destination is. But in a typical enterprise level application, we never write a log into a text file. Rather, we dump these logs into a specific portal, and this specific portal will take care of all of my log. But the initial question remains still the same. If I want to check certain logs and I know that I need to write a Kibana query, I need to write a certain query to filter out log from this portal, but how to identify that which machine, which server name is actually performing bad in my real production site? And that can be only done with the help of structured logging. So in the structured logging concept, rather than writing a log into a text file, we provide a proper structure to each and every log. And these structure can be anything as per your own convenience. So let's say that I want that each and every log in my ecosystem should consist of couple of things. It should consist of, first of all, a machine name. Then it should consist of a timestamp when the log was actually generated. Then it should also consist of a log message, which is my custom message. You can relate this something like this over here, which we have written. And then it should consist of some other things as well, as per my own convenience. But the concept is that all of my logs should have a specific structure, and that is called as structured logging. I can implement a structured logging with a default .NET Core ecosystem as well. So for example, if I write it down, logger.log information, and inside this, let's say if I want to concatenate a timestamp, so I can write it down at, and then I can use a string concatenation, and after that, if I write down datetime dot now or UTC now, and then if I again run my application, you will notice that at this particular point of time, my application will also generate a log, and inside this log, I am going to register a timestamp as well, right? But that is not an example of structured logging, because what we are doing is we are doing a string concatenation. And technically, if I dump this log into any of my tool, let's say Elasticsearch, then it won't work. So if you have to provide a structured logging, you have to give a specific format to your logs. What we can do, we can write it down something like this over here, where I can write it down at, maybe, rather than doing a string concatenation, we will remove this dollar from front and we'll give that 0 time over here, and then I'll provide my time, which is my datetime dot UTC now. And if I again run my application, in my console window, you will not notice any difference, because a console is not capable of defining any structure, but this kind of logging will actually contribute to my structured logging. Okay. So I hope I made the concept clear, like what is structured logging and what is the use case of a logger interface. Now the question is, what is Seq and what is Serilog? Seq is basically a library that is, again, or I can say it's a NuGet package in a .NET Core ecosystem, which can provide you a structured logging. Apart from structured logging, a Seq will also give you an interface where you can see these logs as well. For example, in my case, it could be a tool, right? This particular tool. Right now, it can be a Elasticsearch, New Relic, or maybe it can be a Seq Portal as well, which is commonly used in development environment. So in order to work with a Seq, you need to actually go to this documentation. So you can write down a Seq and it will provide a complete website. And you will notice the very first thing is a kind of an interface plus a structure. You can see each and every log is having a structure. Now I've already installed a Seq on my particular system, and basically I'm using a Docker container. So if I go to my terminal window, so let's write it down terminal, and inside my terminal, if I write it down, let me just run it. So inside my terminal, if I write docker ps, you will notice that a Seq is already running, and it's running on a port number 5341. So if I navigate back to my browser, and if I write it down localhost 5341, you will get an interface Right now, this interface does not consist of any logs, but still there is some interface. And interface consists of some dashboards as well, alerts as well, settings, support, whatever it is. We can explore it, but the major part is that I'm getting an interface. Now my agenda is that whatever the log which my app is generating, I need to dump that log into my Seq portal. Now, how can I do this? We obviously have to add a NuGet package. So I'll stop this application and I'll navigate back to my NuGet package manager window for my API project and I will write manage NuGet packages. Inside this NuGet packages, I'm going to browse for a package and that is my seq.extensions.logging. Now, this is a default NuGet package for my ASP.NET Core application. I'll click on install and this will install a Seq into my current app. Okay. Now, in order to integrate a Seq into my API project, I need to add it as a middleware, as a capability. So I'll go to my program.cs and somewhere down the line, I can write it down builder.services, which is simple builder.services, and then we'll use add logging. This add logging is my default interface provided by or default method provided by .NET Core ecosystem. And inside this, I'm going to provide an option. And inside the options, I'm going to write it down options.add Seq. Okay. And this add Seq is coming from my Seq library. You can notice that it is expecting some kind of server URL, which is my 5341, which is the default port, but I can extend it. So let's say I want to customize this Seq configuration. All I have to do is go to my app settings.json file. And inside this, I can define a configuration with the name as Seq. You have to make sure that this name should be exactly same. And then inside this, I can provide a server URL. And a server URL is the place where my Seq server is running. Like right now, I have followed a default port, but you can run it on some different port as well. So I'll copy this URL and pass it down the line. I really don't need events and everything. This is enough. Now we have configured a Seq URL and we have configured its other things as well. If you want to configure other part like API keys and everything, we can configure it over here and that will be automatically injected in my program.cs. You can explore more about Seq on its documentation and you can actually check its documentation and navigate to your ASP.NET Core integration. So I can write it down API keys or maybe getting started from Seq and you will notice that the same thing is over there, right? So this entire documentation will give you the entire use case of using a Seq library. Now I have done this configuration and I have injected a basic dependency or basic middleware into my application with a Seq. All I have to do is just run my project. I'll click on this to do API and then I'll run it. I have not changed anything else apart from these middleware in my application and my ILogger is still there. It's still same. And let's run my Swagger window. And if I click on API to do and click on try it on and click on execute, you will notice that the log which is there, I need to bring out the correct terminal actually. So the log is there inside my terminal itself. But if I navigate back to my browser and if I refresh it, I can see the logs from my application. And see, this is my method, which is my executing get method inside a to-do controller. Now, if we open this method, you can see it has a couple of properties. It has connection ID, it has parent ID, request path, source context, span ID, trace ID, action ID, and multiple things. And the major important thing is that we have not added it. It was actually added by my Seq library. Okay. And see, the next consists of source context or context root. Let's say if I stop my application and now if I want to write some different logs, maybe I'll copy this and I'll go to my post method. And inside this post method, again, write down login information, executing post method inside to do controller with the date time. And now if I run it, that log will also be there inside my Seq ecosystem. So if I again do this get, a get part is there. And if I do this a post and we'll simply run it because I know it will break. So I'll simply execute this. And just to make sure that I only want a logging part, nothing else. And if I run this, you can see the entire part should be a part of my Seq. I'll navigate back to my Seq portal again and then refresh it one more time. Okay. So I'll going to refresh it right now, and you will notice that this actually consists of my error as well, and it consists of my get as well. Okay. So my post also consists of everything as a proper structure. My error also consists of a proper structure, and that is my structured logging basically. Okay. So this is the demonstration of my structured logging, as well as how we can implement it with the help of Seq. A Seq is very lightweight and an important library which we can do this. Even it can use in production ecosystem as well. But the question is, what is Serilog and how the Serilog is actually different from a Seq? So likewise Seq, we have a separate NuGet package which is called a Serilog. And again, you can go to the documentation of Serilog from here as well. It is actually useful to write a structured logging concept into a .NET Core ecosystem. But there is a difference between a Seq and a Serilog. And that difference comes as a part of my sync. So in my Seq, I only have a limited connector. Means I can write a log if I'm using a Seq. I can write a log into a limited number of libraries, which again simply means that if I'm using a Seq, I can write a log into Elasticsearch, which is having an integration with Seq itself, but I might not be able to write a log into a New Relic. I might not be able to write a log into an Azure Monitor. Whereas a Serilog, which is more enterprise level, is a more industry standard. I can use Serilog library and I can search Serilog sync, and that will give me the entire list of sync which Serilog provides. Or in simple terms, you can see the entire list where you can dump your log into these portal. If you are using a Cosmos DB, you can dump a Serilog log into a Cosmos DB. If you're using a Datadog, you can dump into that as well. If you're using a AWS, if you're using an Azure, you may be using a New Relic. Whatever your tool you are using, a tool means destination. So whatever destination you are using, you can actually dump your log in that particular part with a bare minimum change. And that's the advantage of Serilog over a Seq itself. Okay. Implementing a Serilog in a .NET Core ecosystem is again very straightforward. You don't have to do much thing on this. Just add couple of NuGet packages and write this line which says var log and logger configuration, and it will start writing a logs as well. Okay. So this is all about the logging part from my side for this particular video. You can actually choose a tons of logging, but just to make sure that logging is an integral part of any ASP.NET Core backend or any application, whether it's an ASP.NET Core or a Python application, a login is an integral part of it. And we should be doing logging in all the application. And it is recommended that in a real production grade application, you should actually implement a structured log, because that will really help you out to filter the log as well. So again, for a demo example, if I want to search, so let's say I can write it down, a request path. So in this Seq, I can use request path and I can use equals to, and inside this equals to, if I provide my API to do, you will notice that I will get all the logs which are actually belonging from my API to do only. You can see that it actually filtered out everything else and it is only giving me an API to do log. So that is the benefit of structured logging. This is it from my side for this video, guys. We'll again connect on a separate video and we'll discuss something else about a .NET Core API project. If you want me to implement a demo for integrating a Serilog as well, in the comment section, I'll try to create a new video for it. I have already recorded the entire video in which we are creating a .NET Core API project step by step on my YouTube channel. So please watch those videos as well. And finally, please like, share and subscribe to my content. This will really keep me motivated to generate or record a new videos for you. Thank you.